Christopher Bell wins. The other two Joe Gibbs Racing drivers that are in the playoffs didn't fare as well. And we've also got like Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson to talk about. So let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, before we jump into everything that happened at Miami, I do have an announcement I want to make, so let's jump into that. If you want to see this car right here race, you can check that out on Eric Estep's channel tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It will be Groovy Hollow 3. We are going to be benefiting the Petty Family Foundation and Extra Life, which are both members of the Children's Miracle Network. So super happy to be a part of that thing. Anytime we can raise money to help children in need, I'm all about that. So super stoked to be a part of this deal. And if you want to check out the where you can donate, I will put that link down in the description down below. All right, let's jump into Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell wins his second win of the season. He's got 18 top 10s, 10 top 5s, and for whatever reason, he is having a great season, but not a lot of people are talking about him. I feel like that is the story of Christopher Bell's career, but he comes and gets this win. And last week, he was chasing down Kyle Larson. If he had one more lap, this would have been his third win on the season. But, you know, he decided, in my opinion, and made a great move there to race with respect against Kyle Larson and almost instant karma, because this week he gets the race win in a race where I just love the fact that he was not anybody you even talked about in this race. He had a terrible car at the beginning. He almost went a lap down, and then they just persevered. They never quit, and that's actually the story of this race that I think we should take away from it before we get to all the other dramatic stuff that happened. They just never gave up, and they just kept making the car better and better and better, and then at the end, the opportunity presented himself, and he took that opportunity and made the most of it, got the win, locks himself in to Phoenix. That being said, there was a hard-charging Ryan Blaney at the end. Ryan Blaney didn't necessarily lock himself in, but he started this race the second to last of the 8 remaining. He is now the last man in at plus 10. So he definitely did what he had to do. He was also the catalyst for the other two things that we're going to talk about later here. We'll circle around to that. Let's just get through the top 10 real quick, and then we'll get to that other stuff. You got Tyler Reddick finishing third there. Good finish for him. Unfortunately, wasn't quite enough to stay above the cutoff line. He is now going to be minus 10, and we'll get into the full points after that. William Byron finishes fourth, continues his strong season. AJ Allmendinger with a 5th place. Colleague putting it together here at the end of the season. A little too late, but good to see they've got some positive momentum going into next season. Bubba Wallace in the old Grimace car, he ends up 6th. Ty Gibbs finishes 7th, continues to get those top 10s, knocking on the door for that first win. Joey Logano finishes 8th. Eric Almirola started, I think, in 30-something position for this race. Ends up finishing 9th, so good run for him. Austin Dillon finishes 10th, so some more positive momentum for them at RCR. They needed that over there. And Kevin Harvick in his final race at Miami ends up 11th. Now, I didn't mention Kyle Larson, even though Kyle Larson won the first stage and almost won the second stage and was leading for a good portion of the final stage, but then there came pit stops, and, well, if you haven't seen it, there you go.
Look at the 5 gain to the rear bumper. Oh, the 5 into the water. The barrier's right at the end of pit road. He slides into him, damage to the right front.
That is exactly what happened. He came in there hot, trying to make up time. He had a short-run car. Ryan Blaney had a long-run car. He was trying to leapfrog Ryan Blaney in the pits, so he needed to get out there in front of him. He was hustling it in. Ryan Blaney knew he had a really good long-run car, so he was being more conservative with his entry. And, well, you know what? I'll take an aggressive driver all day, but when you take an aggressive driver, sometimes things like these are going to happen. So, yeah. Kyle Larson, a lot of people are memeing about that. The anti-Kyle Larson crowd are having a field day. But at the end of the day, it was an over-aggressive move. And when you got aggressive drivers, you're going to see stuff like that happen.
Oh, well, he tried to slide me 2 or 3 times and failed miserably, and then just decided to seize the job. I mean, if you're going to slide somebody, commit. Don't halfway do it and use me up. So, what did he say? Hack? I think he was that today.
So once again, Ryan Blaney connected there. He's talking about Denny Hamlin there and how Denny Hamlin raced him on that final restart, costing him several positions. Now, I don't know. I haven't heard Denny Hamlin's side of it. I don't know if Denny Hamlin was racing him that hard because Denny Hamlin knew he was the closest person in points to him, or what Denny Hamlin was really thinking there, but they made contact several times, and then Denny Hamlin eventually does get in front of Ryan Blaney, but almost immediately when he gets in front of him, something happens with the steering mechanism in Denny Hamlin's car, and he smokes the wall. He ends up DNFing, and while he brought out that caution, Martin Truex Jr.'s motor explodes. So within the span of 2 or 3 laps, Joe Gibbs Racing, half of their team falls out of the race, and unfortunately it's the half that was actually in the round of 8. So gonna be a tough climb for them. So definitely those 3 were the bad race for this one. So let's take a look at the points after all that. As it stands now, Christopher Bell is your points leader at 41.10, 41.05 for Kyle Larson, so he's 5 points behind CBell. Then you've got William Byron at plus 30. He's basically all but locked in to the next round. Then right here at the cutoff line at plus 10 is Ryan Blaney. Great race for him. Made up a ton of points there. If he couldn't get the win, he did the next best thing. Then you've got Tyler Reddick at minus 10. Then you've got Martin Truex Jr. at minus 17. Denny Hamlin at minus 17. And Chris Buescher just win or go home mode. I didn't hear much out of Chris Buescher today. They missed the setup pretty badly, which was surprising considering Brad Keselowski ran as well as he did. But he is at minus 47. So with Martinsville coming up, if you can't get some stage points early, it is going to be a win or go home situation for those minus 17 because it's hard to make up 17 points in one race unless somebody has some serious problems or serious trouble. Like Ryan Blaney would have to have a serious issue, and then they would only be 7 points, I guess, behind Tyler Reddick. In that situation, you could maybe think about pointing your way in, but I think everybody there is just going to have to be having the mentality of when to get in, and Ryan Blaney, he can't be far from it. But the good thing about that is, if you look at all of their numbers, at least Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin going into the Martinsville race, they're all really good there. Tyler Reddick, he does have Bubba Wallace to lean on to get a good setup. Bubba Wallace is actually really good at Martinsville. So should be interesting going forward as to what happens. A lot of questions going forward. If you got a question, leave it down in the comment section. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. If this is your first time to the channel, would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll keep making them until hopefully I do get it. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you guys as well. If you want to help out the channel, you can visit the merch store. That link is also in the description. And don't forget about Groovy Hollow tomorrow night at 7:30. So check it out. And by the way, won't be doing a live stream because I want to give all the emphasis to the Groovy Hollow thing. So we'll have to figure out the live stream at some point, some other time this week. All right. I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for your time. Peace.